All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle a question that sounds like it was ripped straight from a sci-fi movie, but it might just be the most important challenge of our future. What if we could actually stop aging?
Just let that marinate for a second. We're not talking about immortality, being immune to getting hit by a bus. We're talking about a person who will never die from the simple, seemingly inevitable process of just getting old. This is way bigger than just living longer. It's about fundamentally changing the rules of life itself.
So, is this for real? Is it just a fantasy? Or are we looking at what's coming next for humanity? Well, to even start to answer that, we've got to reframe the whole thing. We need to think about life, and even our own biology, as a kind of game. A really complex system with its own set of rules, and as we know, some games are rigged from the very start.
To get a handle on how to win a game this complex, we first have to look at how a game can be totally rigged against you. And for that, we're going to take a quick detour back to a 1940s film called Don't Be a Sucker. Trust me, it's the perfect example of how a system can be manipulated to make people play against their own best interests.
So, in this sense, a sucker is anyone who gets tricked into playing a game where the deck is stacked against them from the get-go. And the game they're playing isn't about poker or anything like that. It's all about psychology, about division. And understanding this concept is absolutely key, whether you're talking about society or our own biology. And this, as the film laid out, was the exact playbook used in Nazi Germany. The strategy is pretty sinister, as you can see. You divide people up, you target minorities, spread lies, sow suspicion. You promise one group everything, and once everyone's turned against each other and isolated, the whole system can be controlled. The sucker in this game is the person who buys into it, playing a game they were never meant to win.
See, this kind of game works because it preys on our fears, on our most unreasonable desires. The players lose because they don't even understand the real rules of the game they're in. But what if we could stop being just players in a rigged game? What if we could learn the rules of a much, much bigger one, the game of reality itself?
Okay, so let's shift gears. Let's talk about a totally different kind of game, one that actually empowers us, the game of science. Because unlike the sucker's game, the goal here isn't to trick anybody. The goal is to figure out the fundamental rules of the universe.
And here's the wild part. Sometimes the rules we find seem to just break each other. Take the black hole information paradox. You've got general relativity on one side saying anything that falls into a black hole is just gone forever. Poof. But then you have quantum mechanics, where a core rule says information can never be destroyed. It's impossible. They can't both be right. It's this massive contradiction at the heart of physics that we're still trying to figure out.
And this slide. Look, this isn't a list of failures. Not at all. It's more like a treasure map of what's next. We don't have a clue what 95% of the entire universe is made of, or how life even got started. But as astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson says, being able to quantify our ignorance, knowing what we don't know, that's the engine of science. That's what makes the game fun.
All right, so now let's take that giant cosmic lens and turn it inward. Because there's another game going on, one with a much older set of rules, and it's encoded right inside our own bodies.
Think about it. As author Ian McEwan points out, we are the result of hundreds of thousands of years of evolution. Our programming, our basic instincts, they were coded for surviving on the African savanna, not for scrolling through social media. Evolution is amazing, but man, is it slow.
And don't get me wrong, our biology is an absolute masterpiece. I mean, the human brain, it's 100 million times more energy efficient than a supercomputer trying to do the same kinds of tasks. It's an incredible piece of machinery, but it's still playing by a really, really old rulebook.
But here's the catch. The biggest, most fundamental rule our biology is up against is entropy, the second law of thermodynamics. It basically says that any closed system, over time, will inevitably go from order to disorder, from neat to messy. Our bodies are in this constant uphill battle against this cosmic law of decay, and we have a name for that battle. It's called aging. And according to this rule, it's a game we are all destined to lose.
Okay, so let's recap. We're playing a game against aging. We're using ancient programming. And a fundamental law of the entire universe says we have to lose. So, how in the world do you win a game you can't win? You cheat? Well, kinda. You can't just break the laws of physics. That's impossible. But you can understand the rules so well, so deeply, that you can exploit them. You can change the inputs to get a totally different outcome.
We're actually already doing this with artificial intelligence. It's called an adversarial attack. A researcher, Dr. Heather Zhang, created this tool called Nightshade. It makes these tiny, invisible changes to a digital image. We can't see the difference, but when an AI tries to learn from that poisoned data, it learns the wrong thing. It learns that a picture of a hat is actually a picture of a cake. You've literally tricked the system by feeding it bad intel.
And that is the perfect analogy for what we could do with our own biology. And AI learns from data, right? Our bodies operate based on genetic code and molecular signals. So what if we could understand those signals so well that we could introduce our own new information, our own poison data, to trick our cells into behaving differently? We could teach them to repair themselves, to reverse the very processes that we call aging.
And this is the moment, right? This is where we go from just being players in a game we're fated to lose, to becoming the designers of a whole new one.
This brings us to this mind-bending concept called longevity escape velocity. Let me just walk you through this timeline. Picture this. In 30 years, science comes up with therapies that add 30 years of healthy life. So when someone hits 60, they get a treatment and bam, biologically they're 30 again. Now hang with me. By the time that person is chronologically 80, science has advanced even further. Now they can add another 40 years. You see where this is going? You eventually hit a tipping point where for every single year you live, medical science extends your life by more than a year. Technology literally starts to outrun the aging process itself.
So this really shifts the conversation. The question isn't, can we do this anymore? It's, should we? And if we actually pull it off, if we finally win the ancient, brutal game of survival that has defined our entire species from the very beginning, what game do we play then? I mean, what does it even mean to be human when the finish line itself just disappears?